There has been an accident at Chernobyl, but I've been assured there is no problem.
I'm telling you that there is.
I prefer my opinion to yours.
I'm a nuclear physicist. Before you were deputy secretary, you worked in a shoe factory.
Yes, I worked in a shoe factory. And now I'm in charge. To the workers of the world.
So, this is Louis, and I haven't done a reaction video in quite a while, but I had someone send me this video in the comment section of my last video. So here's another video on gaming. I had a couple people complain. Like, oh, what does it matter, Louis? Well, I say it does matter, and so we're gonna watch this major dev, this veteran dev, this higher end person at EA, a company that I grew up with, which is now one of the worst in the industry, such as it is with all of these companies. But with EA, I grew up with their games. I really liked EA as a studio once upon a time because, hey, they're the company that makes all the Maxis games and all that jazz. But now, years later, we are stuck in the position that EA is one of the worst studios in the industry and one of the most openly ideological in the industry. They are very comfortable and clear in their political bias. It's been this way for a long time. I mean, this was early on in the Obama administration, so we're talking like fucking 2008. That they were just overtly political. When it comes to what we see at companies like Google and others, we know that there is bigotry involved. That if you are right of Chairman Mao, you are not welcome at that company. And you will have a dedicated group within the company trying to push you out or get you fired. If you aren't going to quit because of their bullying, they're going to try to get the company to fire you on legitimate or illegitimate basis. It doesn't matter. The ends justify the action in their view. I don't like partisan corporations. I usually don't buy from partisan corporations. I haven't bought anything from EA in quite a while. I'm trying to remember the last Battlefield game I played or bought. It might have been 4, I think. I believe I purchased 4. Maybe it was 3. I don't even remember. But I purchased their most recent Need for Speed game, which is one of those games where if it weren't for all of the nonsense they shovel into it, it could have actually been a good game. It's disappointing in that way, where they have to force their ideological horseshit into the game, and it just makes for a worse game. The Sims is the only other example that I can think of for EA. Maybe Andromeda, there's another one for you. Oh, that great game Andromeda. It's technically an EA game. But The Sims is probably the only other one. And I don't know if they're going to be able to pull off another Sims game. There seems to be quite a bit of... They're running into some real problems with The Sims. And I don't really know if they can make a new game and have it do better than The Sims 4. The Sims 4, performance-wise, hasn't been particularly good. It's been stable, but it's like being a cancer patient and in remission. Like, it's not good. And I say this as a lifelong fan. I don't want this to be bad. I want it to be good. And the people at this studio, unfortunately, not only have the demon of this company on their back, but they also have internal bias to what they create. And when they're creating the second or third season of Stranger Things as just a DLC for their game, you know their bias. Let's get to this video. It's to say that I have a history with EA, and I don't like that it's one of the worst companies in the industry at this point. I don't like it. But it is. It is one of the worst, if not people regard it as the worst. I'm not sure I agree, but it is the most ideological. Couple seconds in and we have to stop. Always a good sign for a reaction video. making games for everyone. So that is an oxymoron. Games for everyone is an oxymoronic statement. Because it's like saying you're going to make erectile dysfunction medicine for everyone. No, you're going to make it for men. Oh, we're going to make tampons for everyone. No, you're going to make it for women. Games for everyone is an oxymoronic statement because games, depending on what category they're in, what kind of game they are usually very niche. Racing games, like Need for Speed, no matter how much crap you cram into them, are niche. The Sims is a niche simulator game. It only appeals to certain people. Call of Duty is a niche shooter. It only appeals to certain people. NBA 2K, whatever it's called, or let's say WWE 2K, that is a niche series. It only appeals to certain people. Every game that is made for a niche audience. There's very, very exceptionally few games that are so mainstream that they can accumulate a lot of people generally buying it. There's very few games.
Hi, I'm Fujisimo, and I lead video and gaming products for Facebook.
Man, you got this woman on the left here that is like this weird foreign anomaly. Like, she is French or French-Canadian. She looks white as a bedsheet, and yet she has like a Japanese name. Look, what a fucking anomaly.
I'm excited to host another episode in our Game Changers video series. Today, I'm in EA's headquarters in California to talk to Laura Miele, EA's Chief Studio Officer and longtime gaming industry veteran. With new audiences, technologies, and social trends making video games more mainstream, I'll talk to Laura on what it means to create games for everyone.
So when you say games for everyone, making games for everyone, it's like, I have to, drum roll please, like, hey guys, it's Louis, what you got it? Oh, hey, look at these statistics. The majority of people playing these games are men. It's a male-dominated hobby and always will be. Hey-oh! There's no changing this. There's no changing this hobby. There's no changing who are playing these games. You've tried for more than a single generation at this point to change these statistics. They have not in any way changed. You have, like, what is it? WoW. You have The Sims. Like, you have a couple games. Like, a couple games. Not even categories. Games that have seen a transition in who plays them. With The Sims, it is, or it was, male-dominated to where it is now female majority, but still heavy amount of men playing The Sims. I'm one of them. Men are the majority demographic of MMORPGs. If that genre even still exists. Don't quote me on that it still does, because I'm not even sure. But when it comes to WoW, it was an exception that a large insurge of women played WoW. It was unbelievably exceptional because of that. And it became, like, even on these statistics, like, it's its own category by itself. Just WoW. So those are your two examples. Give me some others. What else you got? Shooters? Open world games? You got nothing. You got nothing for any other examples. Tactical shooters? Turn-based strategy games? Bro, it's all men. It is all men playing these games. Women are a fringe and they've always been and will always be. The two exceptions you got, bruh, are The Sims and WoW. That's it. And with The Sims, like, I don't see it having much of a future, as I've already stated thus far. Like, I grew up with this as a franchise, and I'm telling you that it's seriously unhealthy at the moment. Forget about the collapse of SimCity and Maxis and everything else. Just with The Sims alone, even with being a price gouging franchise, which it has always been that way, it doesn't seem to have a very bright future. I know they're going to brag about The Sims. Yo, I've been following this game my entire life. It doesn't have a bright future.
With new audiences, technologies, and social trends making video games more mainstream.
No, that is factually untrue. That is not true. Games are not getting more popular. There has been a very clear year-by-year decline in sales. there has been, in the last 10 years, there has been no change in the top-selling games. All, like, with some very few exceptions, it's been sequels on Nintendo, sequels on PlayStation, sequels on PC, sequels on Xbox. Over and over, year after year. Grand Theft Auto 5 is still one of the best sellers. It was made in 2013. This is an industry in decline. Clear and demonstrable decline. If Ubisoft standalones were bestsellers and were keeping this company alive, then why is Tom Clancy's The Division 2 listed as one of the reasons why Ubisoft is currently in the middle of a panic and is restructuring half their company because they're afraid their games are not going to sell anymore? Because whatever it was, the other Tom Clancy game, the sequel to Wildlands, whatever the fuck it was even called, it bombed harder than the Titanic hitting the fucking floor of the Atlantic. All right? This is, again, Tom Clancy's 2 is on the top selling of last year. It's regarded as a disaster for Ubisoft. When one of your top 10 or top 15 is a financial disaster for your studio and for a publisher, this is not an industry in a healthy situation. We're talking about games that are more mainstream, but are in fact selling fewer copies, that are in fact being rated worse, that are selling worse, that are still in your top 15, and yet are a financial disaster for your company. It's one of the best-selling games of last year, and Ubisoft is changing their company based on this and one other fucking game. Just because you're making more in revenue doesn't mean that it's a long-term solution. It's microtransactions. That is a short-term mechanism to make money. It's not sustainable in the long run. The only exception has been, thus far, Rockstar, with one fucking game.
Welcome, Laura.
Thank you, Fiji. Welcome to EA. Thanks for visiting us today.
Thank you for having me. So, Laura, you've had an amazing career in the gaming industry with leadership roles spanning marketing, development, and analytics. And most recently, you transitioned from your role as VP of Global Publishing to head up EA's World War Studios as Chief Studio Officer. Can you take us back to where it all started and what made you consider a career in gaming?
Yes, sure. Well, first, I went to school for architecture and design, actually, and was working in architectural firms for about 7 years. And a friend of mine told me about a game studio that was hiring for a project management role. And I didn't take it too seriously, but I thought, well, I'll go talk to them and see what they have to say. And it was Westwood Studios in Las Vegas. And they had set up a demo for me during the interview. And they were one of the first companies to create matchmaking and online gaming. So they created a version of Monopoly for Hasbro.
Oh my god! So we're talking like AAA motherfucking hardcore gaming. Monopoly for fucking Hasbro. Oh my god! I'm sorry. Excuse me. We're gonna get to the point where she's like, "No, bro. I was a dev for fucking at Activision for COD." I mean, even if she said like the music games, I'd give her a pass. Just something. I worked at Nintendo and I worked on fucking Luigi's Haunted Mansion or some shit. Give me something here. Jesus Christ.
And I played a game in English from the US against someone in Germany, and they played in German, and it blew my mind. And so I left the conference room begging them to hire me because I just felt like this was the future. This was the future. This was having socially connected experiences and making the world a smaller place, and people being connected through play was incredibly inspiring. And so, and then very shortly after I started at West, we launched Command & Conquer, which was a big success. And I thought that's just how it worked in games. You work hard on a game and you launch it and everyone loves you and everyone loves the games. Though, of course, over my 22 years, I have found that wasn't always the case, but I was very lucky to start that way. And
yeah, was it up until the point that the Command & Conquer games became shit? Was that when you found that out?
I feel quite fortunate that I started in a studio environment and that I worked for developers, and I learned a tremendous amount about the art of development, and I have a huge respect for developers to this day because of that start. I also worked with a developer, a producer, who was the senior producer on Blade Runner, and he was very difficult, and I fought with him quite a bit. I was the head of marketing at the time, and so I married him. And so I met my husband.
Didn't think it was going to go like that.
So I met my husband in gaming. And so it's just been a very lucky turn on many fronts for me being in gaming.
So EA now has over 300 million registered players around the world with a brand portfolio that includes The Sims, Madden NFL, and EA Sports FIFA.
All franchises that are currently in decline, by the way. Great. Just a big thumbs up to those franchises that are all in decline now.
Can you share some insights into the people who are playing your games today?
Well, gosh, with 350 million people playing in games such as FIFA that come out every year with tens of millions of players, our player base is quite vast and expansive.
Try male dominated. I think that's the word you're looking for.
And so we genuinely have the world represented in the games that we play. And we have to consider that and think about that as we develop and design and think about our communities and think about how we socially engineer experiences in our games and how we design and develop characters. So we are genuinely here to inspire the world to play. And when we say the world, we mean the world. It is quite an expansive global player base.
I just like how that's just the staple. Is quality the point? Is it actually catering to who's playing these games? Is it about the customer? No, fuck all that shit. What are you doing to pander to women? Especially foreign women. Especially left-leaning foreign women. What are you doing to pander to them?
So what are some principles that guide you in making games for these diverse audiences?
Well, I love for our games to represent our player base.
Are you fucking serious?
And I thought my jokes were bad.
Speechless. Just boom. I'll bring the statistics back up. Bullshit, woman. Bullshit. You're talking about The Sims and a bunch of sports games. Are you kidding me? The only thing you can name is Sims. That's it. That is it. Everything else, all of these sports games are overwhelmingly male-dominated. Overwhelmingly. I mean, I name-dropped Need for Speed earlier. On this chart here, racing game. 6% of people playing racing games are women. 6 fucking percent. That is 1% away from being a statistical fucking anomaly or an error. Come on! You're making these fucking games for the player base. My lord, what a fucking lie.
And so we are very thoughtful about inclusion and diversity and our characters and how we think about game modes. And in turn, we're also very thoughtful and focused on having a representative employee base at EA that represents our player base. And so it's all very connected, I feel.
If there's one word that I would use to describe EA, I don't think it would be connected with its player base, with its customer base. I don't fucking think so. Of all the companies, no, the company that published Anthem, so in touch with their player base. The company that published Mass Effect Andromeda, so in touch with their player base. So in touch with their customer base. Should I just go on? You have a woman with very colorful teeth, with a weird name, and is apparently French, but also Asian, in a closed room, interviewing a corporate apparatchik about diversity in their games and all of these concepts. Nothing on the ground, nothing to do with gamers, nothing to do with our demands, our desires. Everything is up in the clouds. Everything is in the world of concepts and in the world of abstractions, like I used to talk about a long time ago when I was in college. The world of abstractions. We're not talking about anything real. We're not talking about anything that's observable that you can base on observable reality. It is simply we have an ideal in mind. It's in the clouds, and our eyes are up in the air, not on the ground, not to reality. That is what this is. It's purely ideological. And so to say that you're connected to any of us is fucking insane.
And so it's something that we have concerted strategies and efforts on multiple fronts to ensure that we represent our players and that we bring the most diverse experiences to the world.
I don't give a fuck about diversity. I don't care about diversity. I've never purchased a single game in my life based on the concept of diversity. That has never factored into the equation of what makes me like or dislike an EA. Well, dislike, sure, but like an EA game, I don't think so. But that being your focus is why so many people hate your fucking company. I don't really know if you know this. I don't know if you've ever heard this before. You imply that you did. But a lot of people fucking hate EA. A lot of people. I grew up with EA. I don't want to hate your company. But I find myself hating it because it's destroyed so many games that I've liked. It's put out so many terrible sequels and so many exploitative games that target underage audiences and demand more money after the upfront purchase through microtransactions. I find that to be an unethical practice because it's targeting people that are underage. I find that to be exploitative, and I don't think it should be happening. But will I lose sleep over it ultimately? No. What I lose sleep over is the fact that a company that I've grown up with has destroyed itself, destroyed its reputation because of greed, incompetence, and the desire to have a partisan corporation, to be an ideological corporation, to be an ethical corporation, rather than a productive one, and one that actually represents those playing the games. It does not represent me. I want to hear from Laura here if dissenting views are tolerated within EA at all in regards to diversity being a strength. Because I don't agree. I don't think diversity is a strength. I think that diversity can sometimes function, maybe, under certain conditions, but unification, unity, is usually stronger than having, desperate and non-existent similarities between one another. That isn't a unifying factor. It's not unifying, is that how different we are. If you have two people in a room that have mutually exclusive political beliefs to where they're uncompromising, that it's one or the other because of them being mutually exclusive from one another in terms of what they want, what they politically desire, is that stronger or weaker than a room where you have two people who agree? There are small factors in which that diversity can be good, but it's mainly hypothetical. It's mainly in the theoretical. When it comes to on the ground, I don't know how well diversity actually works. This is one of those things where I was talking to my parents earlier. We had dinner together, and I was laughing about the fact that my father brought up the Chinese virus thing from Trump. And I was laughing that there's been a bunch of hate incidents, but the ones that have been publicized have been from black guys attacking Asians over this. And I was laughing about it because I thought it was hilarious that we're in such a position where we don't want to talk about the fact that the issue of 650 is real, and that the upper class white Manhattanites are not beating up Asians in the streets. It's the poor black people that are doing it. But that's the kind of information that makes my parents uncomfortable to some degree, even though they know it's true. And it makes most people feel uncomfortable, even though it's true. And it's one of those things where if I say it loud enough, I say it enough times, I get banned off of YouTube, even though it's statistically true. And it's just an unfortunate feature of reality, that in a city of so many people, if white people in this area are predominantly wealthier than those that are not white, then guess who's the ones committing crimes? Guess who's the ones engaging in hate attacks and hate crimes, so on? It's not going to be the upper crust, pussified fucking elite liberals that live in this urban center. It's not going to be them. So who's left? Are you going to reflect that fucking diversity in your games? I don't think so.
So how do you go about building strong female characters that would really resonate with women?
It doesn't matter. You can keep stressing this. It has been over 10 years. It has been over 10 years of this shit. These people are saying the same things over and over and over again. What is the definition of insanity, Voss? Explain it to me. Shut the fuck up, Voss. I've heard it enough times. Why in God's name can no one breach this room? Why can anyone get in and say, it's all lies? They're lying to you. This entire premise is based on a fucking lie. We have been trying this for 10 motherfucking years, and these statistics are so similar to those in the past that you could have chiseled them in fucking stone 15 years ago, and they would have been the exact same as now. Even with WoW, for crying out loud. What is the fucking difference? What? Tell me. Give me the stats. What the fuck are they? Nothing has changed. This is a male-dominated industry. The games you're making, EA, are for a male-dominated fucking audience. And your company is run top to bottom by fucking female apparatchiks that don't understand this.
About 4 years ago, we created our Women's Ultimate Team. It's an employee resource group for the company. And though we've always have had a pretty strong representation of females in our games, such as our BioWare games.
Are you fucking serious? You ran the fucking Mass Effect franchise into the ground!
Flashback.
$40 million. $40 million. Where did those $40 million go? I don't... It gets better. It gets better. So the main character in this one, her face is what should we call it? Special. It's she makes interesting, you know, she's an interesting character. It really feels like a human character that I can relate to. Finally. Thank you, BioWare. Now this is what I always wanted in gaming. Jesus. My God. What happened? BioWare, I want to know. I want to know what happened. 2008. 2017.
End of flashback.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to stop. I am going to have to stop because you have ruined one of my favorite franchises, and you're using that as a fucking strong suit. You're bragging about ruining this fucking franchise. Oh my fucking God. I might have to fucking stop. You're going to make me fucking insane, woman. I can't believe this is real. Oh my fucking God.
And strong female protagonists in our Star Wars games. And of course, we have The Sims.
I told you they were going to brag about The Sims.
But we wanted to be more deliberate and intentional about how we thought about diversity in our games, again, to represent that global player base that we have. And so we created a diversity framework. And the diversity framework is essentially a filter or an audit of how many lines women have in our games and how much women are played in our games and how much they are represented in our games.
Are they playing these games? Are women playing these fucking games? No! Oh my fucking God.
And I really feel quite passionately and believe in the quality of the teams that we have here and believe in their ability to make really great choices. And so...
Anthem? Mass Effect Andromeda? Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? EA has been in a non-stop cavalcade of scandals, blemishes, errors, embarrassments for the last 10 fucking years. One game, SimCity, destroyed the entire fucking franchise. Don't even, forget about SimCity Societies, which was also terrible. SimCity, it destroyed the entire franchise. It may have been the game that took down Maxis. Are you fucking serious? I'm glad you have so much confidence in your company, woman, when you've been producing shit nonstop, I'm just stunned. Does this woman actually believe this shit that she's saying?
Our framework is not a prescription. It is simply a lens and filter and a framework that we utilize in different phases of our development process. So we have what we call gates. And as we look at gate 0 and gate 1 as we're creating games, the teams use the diversity filter. And again, there's no prescription that they have to have a certain percentage of women in any, in any part of our games.
Give me a fucking break. You fucking liar. I don't believe that for a fucking second. Oh, we have these diversity gates where you have mandated framework when it comes to diversity, but you don't actually have quotas in mind. Horse shit. How then do you have a framework? Explain this framework to me where you don't have a quota system in place. It's just a general vibration of how many women you have. Spare me the horse shit.
But it is a filter, so they're intentional about the diversity and inclusion that they think about as they're considering all of the characters, as they're considering the athletes, as they're considering the worlds that they're creating. And it's been incredibly productive. And since then, we have introduced the NBA Women's League in our NBA game, then the Women's National League in our FIFA game. We have female athletes in UFC.
It doesn't sell. It doesn't sell. That is not a fucking selling point. That is not a selling point. These games are selling less. And again, I'm just going to pull up the fucking statistics. Sports game, 2% female. 98% of players of sports games are fucking men. You're not listening to your fucking audience because 98% of people playing it are men. So you including the WNBA, it's like in real life, no one gives a fucking shit about the WNBA.
So it's been a really great move for us in that we are just expanding the options and opportunities for not just women to play our games, but for women to be represented in the experiences that we create.
You remember when we were talking about diversity and I said that this is just exclusively about women? Have you noticed that we haven't talked about anything but women so far?
So talking about representation, how do you actually go about representing these female characters and the mix of strengths and femininity?
Yes, that's a great question. And we learned quite a bit through the development process. So of course, we have a tremendous amount of animations and rigs and character builds, and from our games, and particularly when we embarked on our sports games, we used what we had, and it clearly became evident that it didn't represent the physics and movements and animations of women. So the teams dug really deep and worked very hard in developing all new rigs and animations and physics.
Hey, Laura, can you help me out here? Can you please define woman for me? I need you to go ahead and do that. I need you to define what a woman is, if you wouldn't mind, please.
And so the balance of, like in the case of our UFC game, the balance of femininity and strength and power, but still clearly being the movement and feel of a woman was very clear.
So tell me about a time when your company ethos of creating games for everyone was really tested. Like, for example, we saw a lot of reactions from the community to the Battlefield 5 trailer that featured a female playable character for the first time.
Yes, we continue to get a lot of feedback about that, and we stand incredibly strong and actually feel even more conviction about our position on this. We implemented it in a couple of ways in Battlefield 5. The female character that was seen in our announced trailer is actually an area where we wanted to provide more customization and creative expression for our players. And so we, of course, offer the ability to play as a female character, offer the ability to customize that character, and that was a form of creative self-expression for the game.
Was it Battlefield 5 that allowed you to be a black Nazi, or Call of Duty World War II, where you could play a black Nazi? I'm pretty sure you could be a black Nazi in that game. Could you be a black Nazi in Battlefield 5? Someone's going to have to remind me of that. They do exist. I don't know if I could find the video, but there's a black guy in the subway saying Hail Hitler. Let me see if I can find that video for you.
We also, another dimension of Battlefield 5, which is set in World War II, is we wanted to explore the untold stories of World War II. We didn't want to start or just go with the expected invasion of Normandy.
So you made one up completely.
We wanted to have untold stories, and many of the untold stories of World War II are about women.
They're untold because they're fucking fictional, woman.
Women played a very large role in World War II. And so some of these stories and single player modes in Battlefield 5, you play as female characters as well. And we didn't set out to necessarily make a big statement about that, but we just did what we naturally do as we think about player base, we think about a setting, and we think about customization and creative self-expression. And we just received a lot of feedback. And so we created a movement called it's hashtag Everyone's Battlefield, because we believe in creating games for everyone.
Again, I'm just going to flat out say that this is an oxymoronic statement. Games are not for everyone. They cannot be for everyone. Again, pads for everyone. Erectile dysfunction medicine for everyone. You're making something that is a niche product that only appeals to a certain demographic. You cannot make it for everyone. It is fucking impossible. And when you try to, everyone gets enraged. Why do you think? Because you're completely disowning and disregarding the existing fucking audience for your existing fucking properties. God damn. Why do we have ideological retards running these fucking corporations? It's like I'm listening to a fucking communist in Soviet Russia explain as to how they run the government, not based on reality, but the fucking ethos of fucking communism or Soviet Marxism or whatever you want to call it. This is fucking ridiculous.
And so we're using this as an opportunity to continue to fortify our position and message and statement, and that we will stand strong in this position.
Let's say I managed to get in the door. How long until I get fired at EA for not agreeing to all of this? Where I walk in, I go, yeah, diversity isn't a strength. How long until I get shit canned? Will I last the day? I don't think so. You know that one thing that's good for a company is to be in a total ideological echo chamber. You know that's got to be good for a company.
So you've talked a little bit about the EA's Women Ultimate Team. Can you tell me more about what you're doing as the executive sponsor of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started about 4 years ago, and it started simply as a way for women to connect within EA. So I spend a lot of time traveling and spent a lot of time talking to women, and the subject of diversity and inclusion is so vast, and you could take on so many different projects. And I was concerned that we'd find ourselves a year or two later and we hadn't really accomplished or moved too many things down, the field. So I wanted to be very, very focused and very deliberate about what we were going to accomplish in the first phase of this. And so we simply set up and created the organization to create a sense of community for women. I heard from women around the company that they were lonely and that they didn't feel as connected.
You didn't feel connected in an utterly male-dominated hobby. An industry that is making games for men overwhelmingly. You didn't feel connected to it. Why are you there? Can I ask that question? Why are there women working for these gaming corporations? If you feel socially isolated as part of a niche hobby for basement-dwelling faggot losers, why? Why are you here? If you're not also a basement-dwelling faggot loser, why are you working for these corporations? Because that's how you regard us. That's how you regard me. Why are you there? Why is this something that you think that, I need to feel included in? Well, are you a basement-dwelling faggot loser? No, well then why are you here? Serious question. I'm not kidding. There's so much animus directed at male gamers. So much animus directed at hardcore gamers. Those of us that have been around a long time. Why do you hate us and yet seemingly think that you deserve a place in this industry? Why are you here even? Not even a matter of you deserve to be here. Why are you even here? You either belong or you don't. And if you don't belong here, why are you then here?
And particularly, we have offices all over the world, and we have offices that maybe will only have 30 people in some cases. And so, there's a smaller percentage in population of women in those locations. And so my motivation was to create a sense of belonging and create a sense of community and a sense of connection for women with each other. And I was an incredibly vocal advocate for the women in our company to advocate for each other, to support each other, to champion each other's successes, to support each other in meetings.
Is this really the way it all works? An uninformed, arbitrary decision that will cost who knows how many lives made by some apparatchik, some career party man?
Fuck merit, I suppose. If a woman's speaking, support her. Doesn't matter what she's saying, she'd be like, hey, we need to add all this garbage to this male-dominated game, and it's going to sell less. Let's do it anyways. # everyone's battlefield. What does it matter if it makes any sense or if it's going to sell any games or if it's going to, enrage our fucking audience, enrage our customer base? Who gives a shit? They're just dirty. Again, I'm just saying, the reason why you want to do this and you don't care what I think is because you see yourself as distinct from me. And you don't like me. You don't like me and everyone else who's a male gamer. You don't like us. You want us to fuck off out of our own hobby because you're the corporate apparatchik in the industry. You see yourself as an authority figure when we're the customers. You're not a member of the state. You're not in a public office. No one elected you to that position. You don't represent us. You don't even try to represent us. So let's spare all this bullshit about, we're connecting with everyone. No, you're connecting with those that are ideologically aligned with you or that are just women. But hey, take me and let's swap genders. I'm now a woman. If you say that I'm not, I'm going to sue you and win in court. Hire me. I'm a woman. Are you now going to listen to what I have to say, or are you going to continue to try to socially isolate me and get me fired? Come on. You guys remember what I said about a partisan corporation? This is what I'm talking about. If you got a conservative woman in there, you think she's being listened to? I don't think so.
To celebrate, promotions and highlight when people had a big win or a big accomplishment in their work life. So it really helped us change and evolve the culture. And these things take time, and they start small. They start with, let's meet every second Thursday of the month and have lunch together, to let's go volunteer in the community, to let's create a diversity framework for our games. And so it has evolved, and I'm incredibly proud of the work. And it had to start in a very focused, deliberate way, and it's just growing in this beautiful result of amazing programs. And the women are very highly motivated, and I'm so pleased to say that we have many men that are involved in supporting the efforts and championing the progression of women in the company as well. That's been just a beautiful outcome of the program.
You got every beta male simp in the whole world working for you. I bet so. And I'd like to see some of those NDA agreements you have with them. Those male feminist employees. I want to see some of them NDAs you got.
I just fucked your girl tonight. You came inside her. I just fucked your girl tonight. So step aside, yeah. I just fucked your girl tonight. I lit the fire. I just blew her fucking mind. 'Cause I desire. I just fucked your girl tonight. You came inside her. Fucked your girl tonight.
And I think that as we enter into this new era of our studio organization and in gaming in general, the idea that we show up in the world in a very human, authentic, connected way to our players is going to be one of the biggest priorities that we have. And in turn, and through that, I need to show up and my leadership team needs to show up with our teams as well. And so I think that the idea about humanity and connection and compassion and how we treat each other, how we talk to each other, and how we think about our players is going to become a far higher priority than it's ever been.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you for a second that you're going to treat any of us with any amount of compassion because we ideologically disagree with you or don't care about your ideology and just want to play good games. That isn't your priority. Making good games is not your priority. You don't even mention that. Not, oh, we fucked up with Anthem, we fucked up with Andromeda. You're not even addressing all of your failures, all of EA's failures for the past 10 to 15 years. The unbelievable number of failures on EA's part over those 15 years. You're not going to address your player base. You're not going to address me. You're not going to address your failures. You are going to cover them up, pretend they never happened, and just double down on the same shit that has ruined your reputation. It continues to ruin your reputation. It will continue to ruin your reputation.
In our studio organization, and I'm just super excited about what that's going to mean because I think amazing things are going to come from that. From the creativity of our experiences to the social design of our experiences to live services.
I'm probably going to have to skip some parts in this, speed it up, because when you're just speaking to sort of platitudinous nonsense, like, I just got to skip.
Yeah, it is an exciting time. There's no doubt. And we've seen changes in the past driven by technology changes. So console changes, hardware changes. Oh, this game looks more beautiful or it's faster. We are going to see technology drive our change, but it's going to be in a very different way than it's been in the past. And I think that with 5G coming in and cloud gaming and streaming, the idea that more games to more players for more time is going to be more available than ever is going to change everything. And I believe that EA, how we're thinking about player networks and how we're thinking about player engagement and player retention and considering their daily, weekly, monthly, annual experiences is going to play a very large role in how we think about developing content.
It just sounds as though you're reading off statistics from a spreadsheet. It doesn't sound like you really understand what you're designing. This is an artistic medium. You can't just look at a spreadsheet and know what... I mean, this is what Ubisoft did. Ubisoft looked at a spreadsheet, and now they're in crisis. It's unbelievable to me that this is the fucking idiot in charge of the studio. So that's the end, and at some point when I edit this, I'm going to speed up certain parts of this, because if she's just engaging in corporate babble, it's not worth listening to, so I'll see what I can do about decreasing the length of this video. But, wow. I'm not sure what the title of this video. EA is dead. EA has been infested. I can't think of a title just yet. But man, oh man, is this another black pill for the gaming industry. Everything that's going on in your primary focus is fucking diversity and nonsense. It's just like, Jesus Christ. And again, oh, diversity. Yeah, just white women. Diversity. The whole fucking time we're talking about women. The whole time we're talking about fucking women. And again, Laura, I need you to define woman for me. I need you to define woman for me, if you wouldn't mind. And from what I know about The Sims, you're not going to be able to, are you? Oh, God, EA is fucking dead. Too bad. Rest in peace. Press F. RIP. I'll just leave it there. Thanks for listening.